Um, yeah. I'm just gonna cut to the chase here. The Yankees won, man. The Yankees beat the Indians in a masterful comeback, one for the ages. You probably got to go back to the '04 Red Sox to see a comeback like this, of this caliber. I mean, the Yankees, man, what can you say about them? They have heart. They have heart. When their backs are against the walls, when they play the best baseball. I mean, it's really nothing to it. This was the fourth game. They played 4 games now where it was win or go home, and they're 4-0. So that tells you right there, they play better when their backs are against the wall and it's a win or go home situation. That's when they play the best baseball. I mean, it clearly showed, man. It clearly showed in this entire series and in the wild card game. Just a few points. I wrote down some notes here during the game, and this is what I came up with here. So this is for both lineups. I'm sure you'll see the comparison here. For the Indians, Lindor, 111. Kipnis, 182. Jose Ramirez, 100. Encarnacion, 0. Santana, 211. Jackson, 214. Bruce, 278. Urshela, 167. And Roberto Perez did alright. He hit 300. Look at the lineup for the Yankees. Gardner, 286. Judge, .50. Didi, 235. Gary, 174. Bird, 222. Castro, 273. Hicks, 316. And Frazier, 235. Neither teams hit for average as it pertains to hits, but obviously the Yankees had more hits, and they got more hits than the Cleveland did. So from a batting average perspective, the Yankees won that category. Now you look at the pen. The people who stood out to me for Cleveland was Shaw, Andrew Miller, Cody Allen, Tomlin, and then that's pretty much it. So it was those four dudes stuck out to me for Cleveland. They played really well. I thought the bullpen did a fantastic job throughout the entire series. They had some miscues here and there, but overall I thought the bullpen pitched really, really well, and you couldn't have asked for that much more than what they gave you, basically. The Yankees, the guys that stuck out to me were Chapman, obviously. Canley pitched really well. Robertson was a stud. And those are the 3 dudes that really stuck out to me. Betances pitched all right, but he had a bad outing or 2. Green honestly didn't really do too much in the series compared to what I thought he was going to do. So those 3 dudes were the guys that stuck out to me in the pen. Starter wise, Bauer pitched really well in Game 1, and that was about it for Cleveland. That was really about it starting wise. And then obviously for the Yankees, Tanaka and CC. I mean, what a job they did, man. Both of them. Tanaka pitched he was basically unhittable in the start he threw, and CC in both starts he had, he pitched pretty well. So bullpen wise, you could go either way who pitched better. Like I said, the Yankees had a bad what was it, the Game 2 where they blew the 8-3 lead. I mean, they had that situation happen, but other than that, man, their bullpen was rock solid. And Cleveland was pretty much the same thing. I mean, like I said, their bullpen, they had a few miscues here and there, but other than that, you could favor Cleveland, you could favor New York if you really wanted to. I thought both bullpens were fantastic, as I thought they were going to be before the series started, so I think it's a split. But starter-wise, you have to give it to New York. I mean, Bauer, his Game 1 start was really good, and then after that, it was you got to give Bauer the start in Game 1. That was really good. But other than that, their starting pitching was terrible. CC had 2 good starts. Tanaka had the brilliant start. So 3 out of 5, not bad for New York. It's not great, but obviously you have to favor the Yankees again. So we've had 3 categories between lineup, pen, and starting rotation, and you can make the argument that the Yankees beat them in all 3 categories. Defense on both sides were not good. the Yankees had a lot. They made a lot of errors from Gary Sanchez to Frazier. They made a lot of errors, had a lot of miscues. But when you look at Cleveland, they had a lot of miscues and errors too. Their defense absolutely failed them in this series, and it clearly showed, especially in the ninth inning of the game today. I mean, the game was already over to begin with, but you throw in the errors and stuff. They lost 5-2. I mean, it was ridiculous. But yeah, neither team played well on defense. But when it came down to it, the Indians played worse defense than the Yankees did, and I think most people would agree with me. So there's another category right there. You have to favor the Yankees in, even though, like I said, the Yankees didn't play very good defense either, but they made less mistakes than Cleveland did. And yeah, so out of the four, you can make the argument that the Yankees beat them in all aspects of the game: bullpen, starting pitching-wise, hitting, and pitching and defense. So, I mean, it was pretty clear, man. The Indians had a chip on their shoulder, and the Yankees were simply not afraid of them. I mean, it is what it is. You got to take it for what it's worth. The Indians had a hell of a year, but I think it's really overshadowed by how they played, because you look at Lindor, Kipnis, like I said, none of these guys hit their weight in this series. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, yes, Encarnacion was hurt, but one dude can't make up for an entire lineup. I mean, and you got guys like Lindor and Jay Bruce and guys that had to step up, and they didn't get the job done. I mean, it's simple as that. Their starting rotation was a disaster, starting with Kluber, who was bad in both games. Bauer had the good start in game 1, but was really bad in game 3. Or what was it, game 4? I don't know, but I mean, if you take away Bauer's start in game 1, their rotation was an absolute disaster, and it showed. I mean, you had a game plan, and it was pretty obvious. Get the ball to your bullpen in the 6th inning or later with a lead, and the game is over, which they were not able to do after the first game. They had to come from behind in all 4 games, and against a pen like the Yankees, man, their pen is arguably just as good as yours, arguably the best bullpen in baseball, and it can't happen. You got to find a way to score runs and get it to the bullpen with the lead, and that's how you win championships. And the Indians didn't do that. I mean, they fell behind from the 8 ball in almost every game in the series except game 1. The Yankees took advantage of it. They used their pen to their advantage, and they got the job done. I mean, it's simple as that. But yeah, there's not much to it. Man, I'm really disappointed in Cleveland right now, man. I wanted them to win just because I hate Yankees fans more than anything in the world. In my opinion, they're worse than Dodger fans, and there's a lot of them. But it is what it is. The Yankees deserved it, man. They were clearly the better team in this series, especially from game 3 and on. I mean, it is what it is. Oh, and last but not least, manager-wise, Francona was really good. Like I said, it falls on the players for not getting the job done and not locking it in and closing it out when they had the chance to. But I thought Francona, he managed a good series. He was pretty good. There wasn't really much to it. Girardi, he got a lot of trash talk to him because of the call he didn't make or the challenge he didn't do. But to all you Yankee fans out there who want him fired and don't want him back, you guys are morons. All right, let's get that straight. Girardi is one of the best managers in baseball, and I don't care what any of you Yankee fans say, because y'all are retarded, okay? He managed a great game, man. He managed a great series. You take away that one mistake he made in game 2 when they blew the lead, which arguably it's not his fault. It's not his fault his bullpen gave up 5 runs or gave up 6 runs. It's not his fault. He doesn't play the game. He just manages it. He managed a great game. He managed a perfect game in the wild card, and he managed a great series here in Cleveland and beat the team that was supposed to go to the World Series. I mean, the dude's fantastic. If it's not for Paul Molitor and the Twins, I'd have Girardi as Manager of the Year for the American League. So, both managers did fine. I mean, Francona, I'd say in my opinion, probably managed a little bit better than Girardi did, but they were both solid in my opinion. Last but not least, the key points. Cleveland, their bullpen was fantastic, and their team chemistry. Their team chemistry was really good. Obviously, when you're down 8-3 and you find a way to come back and score 6 and beat a team like the Yankees in extra innings, it's pretty remarkable. The Yankees, or the Indians, had that mentality all year: never give up, play to the last out, all that kind of stuff. And that was made them the team they were, man. That's why they were so good. Unfortunately, they just hit a rough spot, and it just wasn't their time. But and then obviously the bad, the defense was not good. The starting rotation was not good. The offense basically disappeared after game 1, or game 2, my bad. After game 2, their offense just disappeared. And to me, it's a mental thing, man. I mean, last year they're in the World Series. They blew a 3-1 lead the Cubs. They're up 2-0 here, and they blow a 2-0 lead the Yankees. So it's a mental block that they're going to have to get through going into next season. But nothing to be ashamed of for the Indians. They had a fantastic year, and there's no doubt in my mind that they'll be back here next year as well. And for the Yankees, the key points, I think it's pretty clear to everyone. If you don't know it by now, they live and die with the long ball. All right. How many home runs did they hit this series? I've lost track. I mean, 1 through 9, they can beat you with the long ball. Gardner, Judge, Didi, Sanchez, Bird, Castro, Hicks, Frazier. I mean, the list goes on and on. They're going to hit home runs. If you make a mistake, they will hit a home run. They're not going to hit for average. Like I said, I said the averages before. Even their average, they're not great, but they will hit home runs. And when you make mistakes, they make you pay. They have a championship pen, man. I mean, their bullpen is good enough to win the World Series. And that's why, can they beat Houston? I'm not sure yet. Can they beat Houston? I'm not sure. I haven't made my decision yet. But their pen is championship material. Just throwing it out there. And number 3 is their starting rotation. Their starting rotation was really good for the most part. You take away the first game, which I even thought, even in game 1, their starting rotation was all right. But that's something to look forward to in the next series and see how they do. But the bad thing is about the Yankees, their defense, obviously, their defense was not good. They made a lot of errors, had a lot of miscues, and that affected them in the early part of the series. They strike out. I mean, when you hit a lot of home runs, you're going to strike out, especially with the dudes like Judge and all them. They're going to strike out, and that's where they might struggle with Houston, who I'd say have better pitching and are not going to make the same mistakes the Indians did, but that's to be determined. Again, the starting rotation, they pitched really well this series, but you got a couple more starts, a couple more innings under your belt. We'll see how they develop and if they're going to get tired or not now that they're throwing more innings. This is the part of the time of the year where you get tired and so on and so forth. So we're going to have to keep an eye on their starting pitching. And obviously the last part, their youth. They're a really young team down the list. I mean, you got a couple of veterans like Frazier and Gardner. Castro's been here and there. But for the most part, they got a really young team. And we'll see how they react to the next stage of the process here. They're in the ALCS now, and congratulations to the New York Yankees. You guys deserve it. So that's all for this video, guys. Click a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you are new. We are out of here. Make sure to check out my other videos, and peace out, guys.